Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Wednesday evening to you all. Hope you guys have had an awesome day so far. A great work week as we're working our way through it, getting to the second half of it. We're going to give you an evening update and just give you an update on what's going on in the tropics, talk about all our systems that are out there in the Atlantic, the Southwest Atlantic, and there's a little spin out there in the Gulf of Mexico. There's also potential tropical cyclone 2 that's still not a named storm as I make this video at around 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. By the time some of you folks watch this, maybe it's a tropical storm, but I'm betting that it probably won't be. But we'll give you an update on what's going on with that. We're not going to stick too long on any of these topics this evening, as nothing's really changed. We're going to mention here locally, I'm from South Carolina, so it's a big topic. I've had a lot of questions on it. And we're going to give you some information on these earthquakes. I'm not going to really tell you guys anything y'all don't already know, but we'll briefly mention it, as I've had a lot of questions on it for sure. But if you guys have not subscribed, definitely consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. Appreciate the ongoing support, especially in these slower times. It is very slow right now, guys. Very, very slow. I think June will beat out May for the slowest month of 2022 for my channel. It's okay. It was expected. Slower times were expected in the summertime. So if you guys got anything I can pray about, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it. It gives others an opportunity to do so too. So let's briefly talk about these crazy earthquakes we've been having here in the Midlands of South Carolina. Now, I know for folks who don't live in South Carolina who are tuning in, I know this doesn't really go for you, but you might find this interesting. Here, locally here in the Midlands of South Carolina, specifically around the Elgin area, they've been felt all around areas surrounding Elgin, including Columbia, any kind of Sumter, Lexington, surrounding towns and cities up there near Lancaster, Chesterfield. Everybody's feeling these earthquakes. I think there's been 39 so far, including aftershocks. We had the biggest one yet of the last 6 months today. It was a magnitude 3.5, which is the biggest South Carolina earthquake, I believe, since February of 2014, when we had the big earthquake in Edgefield, South Carolina. So the question everybody's wondering is, why is this happening? And guys, I don't have an answer for you. And the professionals don't have an answer to it either that I think anybody wants to hear, that anybody kind of is expecting to hear anything like that. Is there anything behind this? Is this leading up to a bigger earthquake? I have them questions too, but I'm not an earthquake expert. I can tell you that. All I can tell you is there is a lot of fault lines that run through South Carolina. And honestly, from all the states on the eastern seaboard, South Carolina is probably one of the most active earthquake states as far as fault lines. So seismic activity is not super uncommon. But in the same time, it's certainly, it's possible. It's not likely, but it's been very odd over the last 6 months. Almost approaching 40 earthquakes. A lot of them have been felt by a lot of people. Like I said, today I felt my first one. It was really quick. It was odd. It was kind of distinctly different than other shaking feelings that you might feel throughout your day, whether you work in a warehouse or just in an office building. And, in the moment, in the 2 to 3 seconds that it happened, I knew it was something different. Certainly, I looked at my coworker and I said, hey, that I think that was an earthquake. And he looked at me and said, yeah, I definitely think that was. So turns out pretty much minutes later, they confirmed it was an earthquake. So, guys, I don't really have an answer for you. I don't. I'm just as interested as all of y'all. Is this leading up to something bigger? The experts would say no. And nothing tells us that. No evidence supports that. But it does make you wonder, is there going to be a volcano that pops up in Elgin? If any of y'all are interested in volcano movies, the movie Volcano, where the volcano popped up in LA, anyways, no, I definitely don't think that's going to happen, but I don't know, we'll continue to watch this, and there's no real expert analysis I can give on this, guys, because I'm not an earthquake expert. I think a lot of people make an assumption that weather and earthquakes and things like that go in tandem, and a lot of times they do. It's usually a common interest, but I certainly am not an expert with that, but I'm very interested in it. I certainly am. So let's go back to the weather, talk about the tropics. Really, there's not, anything changed. There's nothing's changed. This is pretty much not going to happen. This wave behind PTC2, we still got this here. Has not done hardly anything over the last 48 hours. It's interacting with land. from South America. But there is tropical storm watches up for areas of Nicaragua, places like that. I think they extend into Costa Rica. We'll have to take a look here in a second. But then we still got this 40% chance of moderate risk of development with this system in the northwest Gulf of Mexico. But I can tell you the hurricane hunters went into this a little bit earlier this afternoon, and nothing was impressive with this system at all. Just a little bit of a spin that can definitely and most likely will bring some beneficial rain for Texas. We'll talk about that. But here's what's going on as a whole. Here's that disturbance in the northwest Gulf of Mexico. The convection is definitely kind of dwindling. The convection with PTC2 is dwindling also as we're approaching what we call diurnal minimum, which is basically when you have weakening stages of these tropical systems. I break that down a lot more extensively on why it does that in previous videos, so check them out. But you also had this upper level spin right here. This is left over from what pinched off the Tut. So this little spin, this upper level low right here, could turn into something. I'm not saying it will. It's not even being mentioned by the Hurricane Center. But I'm here to tell you that I'm not going to bet on it, but I would not be surprised if they made this an area of interest, especially if we get into tomorrow and these models are starting to flirt with the idea of development with this. But we'll watch this. This is going to continue to kind of meander north, and we'll see if it can get over the warm waters of the Gulf Stream off the coast of the southeast and do anything. But as far as the update on what we do know, still not a tropical storm. I'm not expecting this to become a tropical storm potentially until maybe Friday. I would not be surprised if it doesn't. But we'll see. This will definitely enter the most favorable environment that it's had once it gets in the southern Caribbean. And then, like I said here, hurricane watches up for the southern eastern coastline of Nicaragua here, as you have hurricane watches and then tropical storm watches to the north and south extended into Costa Rica. So we'll continue to check this out, but this doesn't look to change. One interesting thing is this will get into the eastern Pacific and has a chance to become a hurricane out here. It no longer is looking likely it's going to become a hurricane in the southern Caribbean, which I had my doubts in it doing that anyways, but that's what they were thinking, and so far it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. This is the disturbance in the northwest Gulf of Mexico. Actually, models picked up on this, losing convection a little bit later this evening, and it certainly has. And it just looks like a big blob of maybe some showers and storms in the northwest Gulf of Mexico. But this will refire up its convection by the morning time and then into tomorrow afternoon, and will start to bring some rains into the coastline areas like Houston, surrounding towns and cities. Of some big time rains over the next 48 hours is certainly expected. We'll talk about that. Here's this little spin. This is a vigorous spin out here, this upper level low. This is what has a chance to kind of meander north. Gulf Stream kind of stretches out through here. This is an area of warmer water as in temperatures well into the 80s at the surface of the sea surface temperatures here. We got a little spin out here too. There's all kinds of spins going on with these little upper level lows. Sometimes they can develop into something quick, kind of like what Tropical Storm Bertha did a couple years back. But in general, we're not expecting anything crazy right now. This little frontal boundary, if you will continue to weaken and not influence the steering of this. And I think that this is going to continue to slowly track north and bring some tropical moisture to areas of the coastline of Georgia and South Carolina as we get a little bit closer to the weekend. We'll continue to keep you guys updated on that. But as far as I'm going to show you the HRRR model for this little Invest out here that's still Invest 95L. And check it out. As we're getting into the overnight hours, getting into tomorrow morning, as the sun's starting to come up, we're getting waves of downpours entering just south of Houston between Corpus Christi. I like to say Corpus Christi. Ask the folks who've been watching my videos since last year when we were talking about Hurricane Nicholas. I was saying Corpus Christi until the cows came home, but crispy. But it's Corpus Christi. In between them and Houston, some tropical downpours are going to make its way inland. And you guys need the rain, but I think y'all are going to get a lot of rain. So as we're getting into tomorrow afternoon, the rain will continue and to potentially refire back up for Friday morning, continuing to bring rounds of heavier tropical downpours into Houston, and then stretches a little bit further east into Louisiana, Lake Charles, Baton Rouge, places like that. So we'll continue to watch this. It's going to bring several inches of rain. And according to the National Weather Service, it does just that. areas in and around, especially down the coastline, southwest coastline of Houston. Several inches of rain, maybe a spot or two could see 5 to 6 inches of rain. So we got to watch out for that. Big time flooding is certainly possible. Hopefully nothing catastrophic or anything like that. But a slow moving system just bringing rounds of tropical downpours into this area. We look at Texas as a whole and how this could happen. And really all the rain between now and Saturday morning is going to be confined to southeast Texas. But you guys could see a lot of rain all the way, basically the entire southeast, basically the entire coastline, Gulf coastline of Texas. So a lot of rain expected with this tropical disturbance. Now, if we look, I know we keep going teetering back and forth. I should have had these little segments lined up better. Flipping back to the system off the coast of the southeast that potentially can get going. We look at the latest long-range triple R model, and it shows the spin very well. Here it goes. If I keep this in motion, you see how these showers and storms are kind of spinning. We're getting into tomorrow afternoon, and we'll continue to watch this. And then we're getting into overnight tomorrow into Friday morning, and here it comes. Little rounds of showers and storms streaming in from the south. They're moving south to north. So it tells us that these storms, these tropical downpours, are certainly influenced by this little upper level low. And we'll see if it can meander enough out off the coast of the southeast to try to get some tropical characteristics with it and try to get going. It'll be an interesting, sneaky little system. But in general, I really think this is going to bring a pretty wet start. If you're planning a beach trip for Georgia, the coastline of the Carolinas, especially South Carolina, I think it's going to bring a wet, at least, start to the weekend. So we'll continue to watch that. But the Euro does a good job of showing a little spin. You can see the little wind barbs kind of moving around this little vortice right here, this little vortex. So it tells us this little upper level low might have something to it, a little kick, some tropical moisture. We'll continue to watch this. But I can tell you the waters well off the coast of the southeast are warm. The Gulf Stream's heating up. So it's certainly something we need to watch. The icon kind of shows it the best here with a little bit of spin, and it's the most aggressive also, which was also the most aggressive with 95L off the coast of Texas. So it's probably overdoing it here, but definitely has a tropical system moving into the Carolinas. Am I talking about a tropical storm or hurricane? Absolutely not, but maybe a little wave tropical disturbance, certainly possible. So that's all I got, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll have you an update in the morning. God bless all y'all, and have a great evening.